Hey guys, welcome back to NEMT Van Talks. I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Monica.
And today we're going to discuss certifications that are needed for the non-emergency medical transportation business. Monica and myself, we get quite a few questions about what licenses are needed, what certifications are needed. So we are just going to shed light on what is required and what is not required for your NEMT business.
Right, Jasmine. So when you start out, of course, there are a lot of different training certifications that you can take. And it varies, state by state. So, of course, when we go over this list with you guys, please check in with your state requirements to make sure that you are operating within that state guidelines. But one in particular that we're going to discuss is the basic CPR first aid certification requirement. If you have drivers, even if you're owner operated, you want to make sure that you have that certification training, just in case you experience a life-saving event and you have to implement CPR or first aid to one of your passengers. You want to make sure you have that certification requirement. It's always helpful just to have it. But yeah, that's just one of the requirements that is also needed when you're starting out.
Yeah, and make sure that you're going to a company that is credentialed to train you and your staff on first aid and CPR. So that's important too, because you got a lot of different companies out there that don't have the credentials to even be providing such training. So that's important.
Yeah, and you always can check in. I think is it Red Cross? They offer training as well, and sometimes you can get a training for free, or they're very inexpensive, so it's not going to cost you a lot of money. It's just always a good idea to invest in that training. Okay?
Absolutely. And then there is the wheelchair securement.
Yes.
The wheelchair securement training. So if you're going to be providing wheelchair transportation, you definitely want to make sure that you and your staff have the wheelchair securement training. There are a lot of online resources where you can find this training. If you're working with a broker, they may have some type of recommendations or maybe trainers in your area where you can get in touch with them to see if they can, just put you through the training process and then give you a certification after the training is complete.
Yeah, that you're right, Jasmine. That is definitely a good training. If you are transporting wheelchair patients, you definitely want to have that training. You need to know how to properly secure that wheelchair, so it is a must.
Do you remember when we first started out?
Our first one?
Yeah. Like, we were like, how are we going to be like...
we both... Look, it was crazy. Like, our very first one, like...
We didn't know what we...
But I will say... We did practice. Remember, we practiced. I was the patient, and then you secured.
But we could, you know what it was? We could never really figure out what. Like, we would always forget like what goes where. Like what. So what we did was we had like, I think at the house I had like a bottle of pink nail polish and green nail polish, and I just put a little bit on the restraints to say, okay, green. This green connects to this green, and this pink connects to this pink. Like
we did. But now we got it. So
we pros
now. So but definitely you want to make sure that you do have that one. Another one is the defensive driving course as well.
It takes like over an hour to complete that thing, right?
That training is very intense, but I think it's really good and helpful because it walks you through different scenarios that may happen. So like if you know a windstorm or a snowstorm, like, and you are not familiar with how to drive your vehicles in different type of weather environments, like it walks you through different steps. Like I literally learned a lot doing that training, so it's definitely a good training. And again, like there are certain things that we're not mindful of when we're driving, like when you're You have a habit of doing this sometimes.
What?
Driving close on the bumper of people, not in MJ, but I'm just saying, like,
oh no,
your driving, your driving skills are not the best.
She lying.
But
she lying.
You definitely want to, defensive driving. It's just it's always good to have that as well. So that's another one.
Yeah, definitely. You and your drivers should definitely and like I said, like Monica said, these certifications are not may not be required in your state, but in some states they are. So that's why we go ahead and share these requirements with you.
Well, most for sure, if you were working with brokers, they require these certifications. You have to have these. But it's just good to have, regardless if you're not.
We're thinking private pay. We're thinking big.
We're thinking
big.
Okay, big money. Yeah. But if you're starting out, this is something good you should have in your portfolios. Now, of course, there are others that you can consider once you start and get going, and you feel like, you know what, this is other trainings that I want to invest in. I want my drivers to have trainers in these areas as well. You most certainly can. There's tons of different trainings out there. You can add those into your
let's name a couple.
So one is it's called the disability, the ADA disability requirement. So if you're transporting people that have vision impairment or some form of disability, and you want your drivers to be well versed in how to engage with those.
Oh, tell them about that situation you had with the guy that was legally blind.
Oh, yes. Okay, so this is my first time transporting a patient that was legally blind. Now, granted, my father is legally blind, and so I should have known better on how to engage with patients that are like this. But I learned when transporting legally blind individuals, you want to ask them, can I touch you? Is it okay for me to touch you? And they prefer for you to grab them by their elbow and put your arm here in order to transport them instead of holding their hand. They feel more comfortable and safe with your guidance by you doing that. And again, that was something I also learned in the training. And as I was talking with my father,
we had to implement that training because of you.
Whatever. And as I started to talk more with my father about it, I learned so much. You should be asking people, is it okay for me to touch you? Can I touch you here? What is your preference? And that make them be more comfortable with you and how you're working with them. So those are just, again, that's why it's always best to consider adding other trainings once you get started, because you just never know when those trainings may come in handy.
Educating them on emergent situations, that's number one. I know that we are not emergency services, and so it is important for your drivers to know in an emergent situation, what do they do? Your drivers should be trained on the different protocols that your organization has in case of an emergency. What else is there? Dealing with the senior population. I know that there has to be trainings out there as far as the delicacy of transporting these people, that they're fragile.
Oh, don't mean to cut you off.
What?
For sure, sexual abuse training.
Oh yeah.
After hearing so many different stories, we have now started to implement that as well. You for sure want to make sure you have a sexual abuse training. Your drivers, they need to know, your employees need to know across the board that
we don't play.
It's not allowed. It's not tolerated within your company. So you definitely
I don't care how much you think his social security check may be. Sweetie, don't touch that man.
No, I'm telling you, we heard a lot of stories about drivers getting into relationships with your client
and fussing over them.
No, you definitely want to make sure you have that that training in place, because that's a big no. So those are just a couple of trainings.
So just to lay it flat out, there are no special licenses that you need to start this business. So why haven't you started? Right? So, and like I tell everyone, like on our discovery calls, like I tell people, like there's big money to be made in this industry. And like with anything, when the government, whatever, starts seeing big money generated.
Oh my gosh, she loves to say this.
I sure do, because I want people to hop on it and know that the requirements are probably gonna get stricter. I know they will.
I get it.
So get in now while you can. Get in now while you can, while it's not that difficult, while you don't need any special licenses or anything like that.
Yeah.
Get in now. Now is the time. All you need is your certifications, and half of that stuff you can do online.
You can do it online for sure.
Yeah.
And we can probably even share the link below, like the little website where you can, if you want to look into it, like where you can take some of these training courses.
No, we're not sharing no link. Y'all go ahead and schedule your 15-minute free discovery call.
I was trying to help y'all out. I was trying to.
Yeah, no, see, Monica, she too nice.
Jasmine is too. Have you guys been on a discovery call with her lately? Like, if you have, you will see, like, girl.
Whatever. So, yes, you guys, no special license, just a couple of online certifications, and there's some other stuff too, right? Like you want to make sure that driving record is good.
Oh yeah.
Your driver's license, not driver's license.
Well, yeah, driver's license.
Yeah, your driver's license. You have a valid driver's license, and
no recent violent accidents or incidents within the last
no felonies.
Yeah.
No felonies.
So that's
unfortunately, because we're dealing with such a fragile population, you know, they want to make sure that they're safe and protected. And not to say that all felons are, you know, violent or whatever, but they did put those requirements on there, so you cannot be a felon. But other than that,
you should be good to go. So let's get started.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's schedule a consultation.
Let's go.
And let's go.
Let's go.
You guys for joining us, and until next time, ciao.
You and that child.